Black smoke billowed from a burning military helicopter after it was forced to make an emergency landing in California on Friday. The California Highway Patrol reported that the military-grade helicopter made an emergency landing at Camp Pendleton, a military base situated near Interstate 5. Fire crew were seen surrounding the burning helicopter as they attempted to extinguish the flames. According to a report by KGTV, none of the personnel on board the helicopter were injured during the emergency landing. The man accused of killing United Healthcare's CEO was whisked back to New York by plane and helicopter Thursday to face new federal charges of stalking and murder, which could bring the death penalty if he's convicted. Luigi Mangione was held without bail following a Manhattan federal court appearance that occurred shortly after he was returned to New York. He remained shackled at the ankles throughout the 15-minute proceeding, during which he told a magistrate he understands the allegations against him. Mangione was immediately turned over to at least a dozen New York Police Department officers who were in the courtroom and led him to a plane bound for Long Island. He then was flown to a Manhattan heliport, where he was walked slowly up a pier by a throng of officers with assault rifles. The federal complaint filed Thursday charges him with 2 counts of stalking and 1 count each of murder through use of a firearm and a firearms offense. Murder by firearm carries the possibility of the death penalty, though federal prosecutors will determine whether to pursue that path in coming months. In a New York State indictment filed earlier this week, Mangione was charged with murder as an act of terrorism, which carries a possible sentence of life in prison without parole. New York does not have the death penalty. His attorney said dual state and federal cases puts the defense in a highly unusual situation. "Frankly, I've never seen anything like what is happening here," said Karen Friedman Agnifilo. She reserved the right to petition for bail at a later point. Agnifilo declined to comment as she left the courthouse.
Luigi Mangione, the 26-year-old man accused of killing the CEO of United Healthcare, made his first appearance in a Manhattan courtroom on Thursday. Now, it was in federal court, not in state court where he had been indicted. That's because federal prosecutors have also brought their own charges against him. They have charged him with murder, a count that could bring the death penalty if he is convicted on that charge. Now, his appearance in federal court in Manhattan capped a whirlwind day that began with court hearings in Pennsylvania, and then a flight to Long Island on a small plane, and then a helicopter ride to Lower Manhattan, where he then was driven to the federal courthouse to make his initial appearance. In court, Mangione was not in the orange jumpsuit that we've seen him in at other court appearances. He was in a navy quarter zip, khaki pants, had shackles around his ankles, but his hands were uncuffed. He was relatively unemotional, calm during the proceeding, leaning into a microphone and saying yes when the judge asked him if he understood his rights and if he understood and had read the allegations against him. Now, prosecutors asked for and they received detention. That means that Mangione is going to jail. He is not being released. His lawyers have not yet asked for bail. It wasn't clear if he had any family or supporters in the courtroom. However, there were some people outside the court that used this court appearance as an opportunity to show support for Mangione and to criticize the healthcare industry. Mangione's lawyer, Karen Friedman-Agnifilo, took issue with charges both in state court and in federal court. During the appearance in federal court on Thursday, she said that the charges seemed at odds with each other. In the state case, Mangione is accused of committing murder as an act of terrorism, instilling fear in other people. While in the federal case, he is accused not only of murder, but also of stalking, tracking his victim, his alleged victim, Brian Thompson, for days before the killing. Friedman-Agnifilo says that involved targeting, the allegation involves targeting and stalking a specific person, an individual, in the federal case, not instilling the fear that state prosecutors allege. Now back in New York City, Mangione will go to jail while his lawyers potentially fight for bail. It is unclear when he will be in court next. He still has to be arraigned on those state charges. He also could potentially have a preliminary hearing in federal court, although that won't be necessary if federal prosecutors get an indictment in the next 30 days.